Across Newcastle and Gateshead on 102.5 FM, online, on your mobile and on your smart speaker. This is Nova Radio Northeast.
Okay, we have Mr. Tony Wilson now live in the studio, and he's going to play us a few songs and talk a little bit about his career, so we will look forward to that. And here he is, Mr. Tony Wilson. Thank you.
Right place at the wrong time. Why is it always this way? I'm stumbling and tongue-tied, never knowing what not to say. No stranger to talk, why can't I say? On the same road, fighting to be free. I'd forgotten to keep looking for someone like you. Lost the grace to be open. Surprised that I should even care. Always hope that you somewhere, but frightened that I should even care. That I'm alone on this ocean, adrift at sea, lost on the same road, fighting to be free. In the right place with the wrong mind, its mocking hand. Yours the right heart and the right mind, and yet I'll never understand. I'll never understand why it always has to be this way. Adrift at sea, lost on the same road, fighting to be free. Your friends, they all misjudge me. They can't hear this beating heart. I know you'll never know me. All I offer is a helping hand. You know there's help at hand. I know that lonely road I see in your eyes. You'll be alone on your ocean, adrift at sea, lost on your own road, fighting to be free. Time will take you on a journey. Don't let the days fall into years. Take a clinging hand lightly. Her words will wash and dry to hear. Now it's not easy, but try to hear what you need, and your heart will fly free. Far across the ocean, far out to sea, toll on your own road, wise, strong and free. Far across the ocean, far out to sea, toll on your own road, wise, strong and free.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, lads and lasses and Johnny Little, we have Mr. Tony Wilson, the storyteller, in the studio at the moment. And what was that track called, Tony?
It's called Fighting to Be Free.
Fighting to Be Free. What a fantastic track. Okay, welcome, Tony Wilson. Thank you very much for coming in. Really grateful, really grateful.
I'm such a fan of the show, and it's just great to be here.
Thanks very much indeed. Okay, Tony, everybody has to start somewhere. So how did you learn to sing and play?
Well, I think I was very lucky. I was born in 1953, and basically... like there was singing at school, you know, all of that thing where you had to sort of like stand in your knickers and bra and sort of like, you know, sing in the hall all the time and tune stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
And I really liked that. I was the loud kid in the middle of them all. And I was in the church choir, and my parents used to sing to us. There was like a great love of musicals. So my mum would go to the pictures in Shields, and South Shields. She would and then sing us all the songs the next day.
Right.
So there was quite a lot of singing. So, and folk music was very popular on the radio when I was a mid-teenager.
Yeah.
So there was just something about it that just struck with me.
Yeah.
You know, it was like I'd found a calling.
Something that really
played
there. Yeah. I mean, you've mentioned one of the questions I was going to ask was about your family. You've sort of touched on that there, haven't you? About your family being very musical, and that's where you sort of got and realised you had a bit of a thing for music.
Yeah, well, I was very lucky because I had like a couple of uncles who were also very musical. They had like guitars and sang. One of them was called Rocky Pebble,
right.
And he used to do all the clubs. You know, so they used to sort of like travel around, and he was like a professional performer. So when we used to go and visit him in Glasgow, it was very exotic.
Yeah.
That he would sing to us all. So I loved all that, yeah.
So you had a lot of it when you were young, and it's...
I certainly did.
Okay, do you want to take another track? Let's go with another song.
Okay, yes, yeah. Well, I suppose when I was talking about me uncle, he used to do what was called country and northeastern. So he used to sort of like sing like country songs. So this is kind of in that same genre. This is one of the very first songs that I wrote, probably in about 1981ish or thereabouts.
Yeah.
And it's called Kings and Fools.
Excellent.
It's about two old fellas in the park in Leeds telling each other stories that are really lies.
Okay.
We broke some hearts, we broke some rules, felt like kings, looked like fools. There ain't one of you can say you've never done the same. I was young and lazy, wild and crazy, no one but me to please. I never thought I'd ever live to ever be so old. And now I'm down here drinking with them good old boys, each of us telling those eight sweet and lies. Tell me again about the time that you sailed the seven seas, fought under Old Glory, brought the enemy to its knees. We all know you never left this place, never went to sea, and you never sailed. It's always good to hear your old sea dog tales. And now I'm down here drinking with them good old boys, each of us telling those eight sweet and lies. When I was broke down, when I was busted, swore that you were to be trusted. Instead you stole my girl, you almost broke my soul. Swore for sure someday I'd kill ya. It's been over 40 years. You're my only last living best friend to see me through these years. And now I'm down here us telling those eight sweet and lies. Every year our ranks get smaller, memories fade, tales get taller. The hurt and the pain disappear like the years. I remember bars, places, fights, girls whose voices lit up the night, and these half-forgotten stories. I feel young again, and now I'm down here drinking with them good old boys, each of us telling those eight sweet and lies.
Okay, lovely. I was waiting for something else to come out here. Just leaves you hanging.
That's
Excellent.
the one. That's what you want.
This is Nova Radio Northeast. We have Mr. Tony Wilson live in the studio. Okay, Tony, just to continue. So, the first instrument that you learned to play, I know you play a few instruments. Do you want to talk a little bit about it?
Well, I tried just about everything, to be honest. I tried, I don't know, I tried like whistles and harmonicas and jaw harps and all the kind of things that were quite cheap and portable.
Yeah.
And I was lucky enough for my dad to make me an instrument that was, it was a bit like a lute, but it was made out of plywood.
Mm-hmm.
And you couldn't really fret it because you didn't know how to put frets on.
Right.
But you could make a chord, and I sang over the top of that. But the first instrument I actually got was a 5-string banjo. This very banjo that I've got in my hands now, guaranteed Japanese.
Right.
I was actually after a concertina, but concertinas were 60 guineas and banjos were £7.
Right.
So when I came down on Christmas Day and saw that there was a frying pan ready and waiting for us, I didn't have a concertina. But I love the instrument, and I like stuck with it for ages. It took us about 6 months to learn how to play something properly on it,
Right.
which was Skip to Maloo.
But the whistles and everything, you never... you don't play the whistles now?
I do.
Oh, you
I
do? I thought
do
you did,
now,
yeah.
But when I was little, when I was like about 14, 15, anything I put in my mouth, my mouth just went food. so it was just like dribble city. I know that's a terrible thing if you're eating at this present moment in time, but I do play the harmonica, and I play the whistle and quite a few other instruments. But,
Jaw harp and stuff, yeah.
Oh yeah. Obviously I play the guitar.
Yeah.
My first guitar was brought back from my Uncle Morris in Scotland. My sister brought it back for us, strapped to her back, and she drove back on a Honda 50 all the way from Stirling, all the way back down.
Okay.
And I immediately painted it bright white with a yellow back, red sides and a blue neck.
Yeah.
Which was the hippie kind of thing to do at that time.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So I'm just watching you as well. I mean, you tend to use a lot of different tunings, don't you? Like with your... Is that right? Your acoustic, you tend to...
With the acoustic guitar? Now, I used to use lots and lots of different tunings, but when I was performing, it just used to take up like a lot of time. And I was very fortunate because I was in a band with a fellow who played in Dadgad.
Right.
That just means that you drop like some of the tunes, the top string and the bottom string and the second string. And as you go across, it looks like Dadgad, like that. And that's got to have been about 1978-ish or thereabouts.
Right.
And from that time, I've never played in any other tuning than that.
Right.
Even when I'm playing like rock guitar. And for the purists out there, I even tune the bass.
Right.
So that it's dropped. I know, I can see you rolling your eyes there when I said that. But I just really love that tuning. And it's different. Mm-hmm. It's got like a different kind of sound to it.
Yeah. Very good. And obviously the folk scene, that's the thing that you're very heavily... You were influenced by the traditional folk scene.
Yes, yeah, well, it was really popular. I'm talking about when I was about 14, 15.
Yeah.
There was a lot of it on the television, the Spinners, the Dubliners. It even used to get into the charts. So there was one of the Dubliners, Luke Kelly, had this absolutely incredible voice, really loud, and he played the 5-string banjo. And I remember going to the City Hall in Newcastle to go and see him, and the lights were glittering off it. So it wasn't quite by accident that I got a 5-string banjo.
Right.
You know, so... But as far as I was concerned, that was all I was ever going to do. I was just going to stick with traditional music. And then, I suppose, around about 1980, I started writing, which was a big surprise, very big surprise to me.
Excellent. Okay, do you want to carry on with another track?
Well, I will.
Another song, sorry, I keep saying tracks.
Well, what I've got here is my 5-string banjo. This is my first instrument. So it's 51 years old. The best £7 that's ever been spent. This is another one of my songs. This song's called I See Changes All of the Time.
Yeah.
And you played it last week in its very earliest form, because I sent you the demos, so it's kind of evolved since then. Okay. Keep your picture by the table you always love to eat. When I close my eyes I see you sitting in your favourite seat. We met in the Rondi Cafe with the cups and the smoke and the steam. Nothing stays the same in this life. I see changes all of the time. And biking was your passion. You and your dad, just like kids, took for granted, hardly noticed all that your man did. That's the way that it was. We knew our place. We would wash, we would cook, we would clean. Nothing stays the same in this life. I see changes all of the time. And we found ourselves as a family. It was there in the blink of an eye. No longer just we two, no longer just you and I. And we worked to bring them everything, the best that we could bring. Nothing stays the same in this life. I see changes all of the time. And we worked all through their childhood with asbestos, aluminium and lead. Work was dirty, work was dangerous, but that was just what you did. I would put my mind to anything for my family if I chose to. Nothing stays the same in this life. I see changes all of the time. This estate has grown up around me. 60 years I've been in this place. Sit alone and talk to your picture and imagine that smile on your face. Don't need a paper to tell me no lies. See it with my own eyes. Nothing stays the same in this life. I see changes all of the time. Now my life is filled with rainbows that I knit and stitch and sew. Make money for others, but there's one thing I know. If I get a bill and just can't pay, they can sing for another day. Nothing stayed the same in my life. I made changes all of the time. Nothing stayed the same in my life. I made changes all of the time.
Lovely.
Thank you.
Excellent.
Now you hear that on the radio and you don't believe there are people just sort of clapping in the corner. How lovely, how lovely.
Yeah, you're welcome. Great audience, too. So, Tony, you got your instruments, you got going, and then obviously you've got to play, you've got to move around. So, where did you tour and when?
Well, I'd started playing in 1968, and we were incredibly lucky because we had a school folk club, and that was like a great place to get like some skills, some performance skills. especially playing in front of your peers.
Yeah.
You know, you're talking about like I was maybe about 16, 17, and you're playing to other 16 and 17-year-old people, you know. So it gives you like a toughish kind of skin.
Aye.
And then when I went to Leeds, I found that I'm mixed in like Irish circles, because there's quite a large Mayo contingency of Irish people in Leeds. So I learned a lot of Irish music, and you had to know your chops. Like if you were to get up as an Englishman to play Irish music to Irish people. And then joined bands and toured all over throughout Europe. So like mostly like Holland, Belgium, Germany, France, and those kind of places. I lived in I lived in Germany and in Holland for about 3 years, in the kind of like the run up to about 1979. So within 10 years, I'd gone from not having played an instrument or performed in front of people to being quite used to being like in front of audiences.
So was that professional, or was that?
Oh yes.
Oh, you did that full time abroad in Europe? Yeah, excellent.
Well, I know you'll find this hard to believe, but I did get a degree and I did qualify. Yeah, less laughter, thanks. But I did actually qualify.
Yeah.
But the year that I qualified, I was asked if I wanted to go to Belgium for 3 weeks.
Right.
And I was going to go back and do a master's in, of all things, water pollution with the Yorkshire Water Board. And I never came back.
Right.
So by which time, you know, like the offer still wasn't there. So it was that kind of thing. So yes, so I travelled and toured. I toured on my own for quite a while. And I also toured with a band called Iona. Not the rock band, but the rock folk band. But like a couple of lads from Leeds and a couple of lads from North East.
Excellent.
You know, so.
And you made a decent living and you survived, obviously, and you did all
well,
right.
Do you know what? It's like when you're that kind of age, when you're like 24, 25, you know, going on to sort of 27-ish, you're quite happy if somebody gives you beer and food. You know, like money seems to be almost like an incidental, as long as you're not starving and freezing.
But you were doing what you enjoyed, really, weren't you?
Yes, but kind of like after a time, you get a bit sick of being in the back of the transit and not spending money and
tough on the road.
But interesting.
Yeah.
I have actually written a book about it. It's called Band with the Runs.
Brilliant. Excellent. So the first song, you said you started writing your own songs
yes.
around about 1980. So what was the first song that you actually wrote?
It was a song which is called I Wish I Had Someone to Waltz With. I was just fiddling around with the 5-string and it just kind of like popped out, you know, this song. I mean, I'd written extra verses to other people's songs, which is quite a good way of like learning how to songwrite. You add an extra verse to something and you try and match the words to what somebody else has written. That's quite an interesting thing to do. And that was basically it for ages and ages and ages. I just had this like one song. Vaguely wish I had someone to waltz with, someone to share my joys and faults with. I can see no way of getting close to you, and by the time I'd learned the dance was through. You know, well, it's not Shakespeare, but at least it's a song.
The first song.
Yeah.
Okay, do you want to carry on with another one?
I will do.
Please.
Well, I've got like another instrument with me.
Right.
This is called an octave mandola. This is, I still think of it as being a recent instrument of mine.
Yeah.
But it's got to be at least 20, 25 years since I first bought one.
Okay, I was just going to say, I'm just going to ask you what instruments you actually play now. Which, I mean, you're on your third instrument here tonight, aren't you?
Yeah.
So what are you actually playing? What instruments do you play now?
Well, I've got the guitar, I've got the 5-string banjo, I've got the tenor banjo, which is all the kind of the kind of Irish music, which I played only that, mostly when I was in Germany and Belgium and Holland. It was the only thing I played. And but I play ukulele, because I did quite a lot of stuff on the Great War, so the ukulele fitted in with that. So I also learned how to play the concertina, because it was an instrument that was contemporary with the 1914-1918 war. And I think it was just one of those things that once relatives found out that I played musical instruments, every birthday present, every Christmas present would be an instrument for that one in our family who plays. So
It's interesting, just from a personal point of view. I mean, I play the guitar, obviously, and I always wanted to learn another instrument. I mean, is it when you learn to play one instrument, does that make it easier to sort of, or is it? I know they're separate, different types of instruments, but obviously you get an ear for a different type of. But did you find it hard moving on to different instruments and?
Well,
or did it just come to you naturally?
I don't think it's ever come naturally. I think I'm just somebody who like plods and plods and plods at it. Yeah. That's my wife and sort of like the neighbours, really. I kind of stick with it.
Yeah.
But your point about sort of like, does it become easier? I think you've learned all the fundamentals.
Right.
That you hit the string, you press the string down, it becomes higher and lower.
Yeah.
And it's about that, the two-hand coordination. Yeah. I think the other thing is, if you're determined enough to learn a different instrument, then you will learn it.
Yeah.
I mean, the things I brought tonight, like the guitar and the 5-string and the mandola, are all stringed.
Yeah.
Now the guitar you pick with your fingers, and the 5-string you pick with your fingers, but the guitar you can strum.
Yeah.
And the mandola, it's a bit like a violin, except you don't stick it underneath your neck.
Yeah.
So if you think, it sounds a bit weird if you try and pick it with your fingers.
Yeah.
But if you play it with your fingers, it's got like a definite sound. So if you play it with the plectrum, yeah.
I would love to learn another instrument, but I've been playing the guitar since I was 14 to get to the standard I'm at now at 57. And I think, how long would it take us if I learned another instrument? But never mind.
Do you know what? You might find your enthusiasm for it.
Yeah.
Will make it so that you become very interested in it.
Yeah.
But I've got to say, I love the mandola because it's a hybrid, because you can play like a electric guitar. You've got that kind of sound. You've also got that kind of soft noise as well. So
yeah, very good.
Okay, well, this is a song which is called "The Last Train at the Station," and this was I think this was written in about 1996 or thereabouts, and it was it sounds very like Crowded House, but it was before Crowded House came out, so I can't say that I'm copying anybody. I was waiting for the last train at the station, last chance to ride my old heart home. I would kill for your sweet conversation, or make me learn your stranger song. This ever-changing man, a stranger to himself, trying to piece together his own forgotten world. Time doesn't always heal, it can slaughter who I was and might have been. I'd forgotten love, thought and cared for, making this life as if my own. Didn't know that I was crazy, breathless and so wild. Fingers laced together, this man becomes a child again. Time has swiftly whispered, bawled, howled and hollered, ever the fool to let her go. But then she would never tell you, never the one to let it show. I'm not who you thought I was, you're nothing like you were. I'm a man to your woman, not a boy to your girl. I was hoping that was praying that I begged all the stars in heaven that you'd be on the last train at the station. Don't make me journey on alone. Don't you leave me to this long dark horizon. Oh, take my heart and take me home. I'm man enough to tell you I know that I was wrong. Don't say a word, right here is where we belong. Let me tell you now, goodbye is not an option. By all the tears still in my heart. And hell, we both know this is crazy. That doesn't stop it being right. We've all had our demons, monkeys at our back, face beyond the known and never look back. I was waiting for the last train at the station. Don't make me journey on alone.
Live audience. Myself and Tony's wife in the studio, the audience. Okay, Tony, that was lovely. I mean, the songs you write, the inspiration for these songs, can you tell us a little bit about your inspiration?
Well, there's quite a few. I mean, I think, like, in the past, it's been so, like, the way that I was living and things like that. I mean, like, broken hearts or so, like, you know, memories and things like that. I was recently involved in a project from Capney, that's Community Arts Project Northeast, where I took 10 interviews, and those interviews from people who'd lived in the Northeast over the last 70 years or so, and they told about their life story, and I had to pick something from those and write a song that went with those things. So that was quite a. I mean, I haven't written any songs for about 25 years, and then out of nowhere, I wrote a song about Roy Hood. He was in an interview, and then I wrote another one, like a funny song called "There's a Dog in the Old Life Yet," and things like this, and another one, "Wistful Thinking," just thinking about the family, my family. And then this project came up, and it basically reopened like a floodgate. I've written songs for children over the last 20 years, but they've been, somebody said, like, can you write a song about Romans? So that's quite easy. But these days it's more about, I'll write songs about what I want to write about. I mean, we were recently in Liverpool, and it was quite sad. I mean, I don't want to bring it down, but there was a girl in a phone box, and she was obviously waiting for a call, and she looked really distraught. And then she, like, ran away from the phone box, and then a little girl, and I looked at her reflection, and she was playing with a doll inside of this place. So I'm going to write a song about that. That sort of inspired me to say, like, you know, like a young woman and a young girl, a very young girl, you know, like different aspects of their times, how one becomes more careworn.
So that's your sort of songwriting. And the other thing you do is, obviously, I mean, you are a storyteller, and you do go into school. So that.
Well, I used to. What's happened is the last 2 years, with a lot of budget cuts, my storytelling work basically stopped overnight.
Right.
So I've had to reinvent myself to try and sort of like find the only other way that I can think of making money, which is, I mean, I can't become an agricultural zoologist again. You know, that's way too far in the past. So I just want to sort of like become like as a singer again.
Yeah, singer-songwriter.
Yeah. Well, I never ever called myself a singer-songwriter.
Right.
I would always do more traditional songs, and then when this happened, I found myself with more time to look at what I'd written in the past on cassettes.
Yeah, yeah.
For those of you too young to remember what cassettes are, ask your granddad. Okay, he'll tell you. They're like MP3s but more cumbersome. So now it's like I've got this 30 years worth of songs that I've written but never sang.
Yeah, yeah.
That have come to the fore, as well as all of the traditional material. You know, I thought I would, like overnight, I would have it. But it took the best part of 2 years to get to a point where I feel comfortable.
Yeah.
You know, that I think that my musicality and the material that I'm performing and the way that I perform them are interesting to an audience.
Excellent stuff. Okay, do you want to give us another song?
Well, I tell you what, since I've got this mandola in my hand, what I'll do is I'll do a song which came from that Capney like project about something, right? This is about a woman called Grace who basically was interviewed, and you can almost hear it. I mean, when you're listening to an interview, sometimes you can sense what the interviewer's feeling at the same time. Like a good interview would be like that. And this lady Grace was just sitting there, and they said, "And what did you do?" "Oh, well." And all of this poured out about when she was younger, she was sent to a convent. When she was too old for the convent, she was sent to, she worked in Buckingham Palace. But the guardsman took too much interest in a northeastern girl who was 16. So she was sent back. But she went back with the leftovers of the Jarrow Marchers. Because a lot of the people who went down with the Jarrow Marchers, so like some stayed there and did quite well in the coal industry in Kent. But some, like the people who hadn't done well, and she kind of crawled back home with them. And it was quite a tragic life, but she's such an up person and got such a great spirit. And it's about her. It's called Watch for the Ginger Sergeant. I'm glad you asked. When you tell young people, they say you're mad. The moan, the groan, they've got it so bad. No one thinks that times were hard. 2 up, 2 down, 1 tap in the yard. Had to watch for your dad and his temper. Watch for the sergeant, his beard so ginger. Watch for the guardsman on parade. Watch your back, keep all your debts paid. School taught me nothing, but I learned so much. Feisty firecracker tended to the torch. Swore I'd never come back again. I'd be back, only God knew when. Had to watch for your dad and his temper. Watch for the sergeant, his beard so ginger. Watch for the guardsman on parade. Watch your back, keep all your debts paid. Now the daughters of the cross gave me a safe home, far from me dad fighting women and men. The ginger sergeant never wanted to fail. If he ever lost, he threw you in jail. Had to watch for your dad and his temper. Watch for the sergeant, his beard so ginger. Watch for the guardsman on parade. Watch your back, keep all your debts paid. Now the marchers went to the palace so grand, asking for work, no caps in their hand. Some stayed there proud of what they'd done, but the rest, like me, crept back to their home. Had to watch for your dad and his temper. Watch for the sergeant, his beard so ginger. Watch for the guardsman on parade. Watch your back, keep all your debts paid. I've known tragedy, grief and pain. Without the church in me life, I couldn't tell a tale. So proud of me family, each and every child. Life's better now, did something right. I had to watch for me dad and his temper, watch for the sergeant, his beard so ginger, watch for the guardsman on parade, watch your back, keep all your debts paid. Had to watch for your dad and his temper, watch for the sergeant, his beard so ginger, watch for the guardsman on parade, watch your back, keep all your debts paid.
Excellent, very good. Well, Tony, just finally, do you want to just tell us, I mean, gigs, just a little bit of promotion? Do you want to...
Well, I'm coming, I'm very pleased to say after like 2 years, I'm starting to be booked at folk festivals.
Excellent.
I'm at Whitby, I'm at Hartlepool Festival, I'm at Otley Festival. I'm going to be playing at the Bridge Folk Club in the new year. I've got another few... but I've just been sort of down to London. I've just been over sort of all kinds of different places playing. So it's really, really on the up. So what I am doing is I'm just about to release a collection. It's not really a single album. It's an album that I recorded in the studio. Another one that I did in a studio, but all live, a bit like this.
Yeah.
And another one in a DVD, which is... an hour's worth of live performances.
Excellent.
So, and it's called A Certain Curiosity. It's going to be coming out in probably about a fortnight's time.
Okay.
That's the thing, so.
Okay, but Tony Wilson, the story... Oh, sorry, I shouldn't say that. He's not doing it
Oh, I
anymore,
still
but I
tell
just keep
stories.
referring to you about
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
But thanks very much for coming in. I mean, I've really, really enjoyed that. Very interesting. You've had a great career.
Thank
Lots
you.
to talk about. We'll go on forever. It's now 5 to 8.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, it's fine. Absolutely fine. Really good.
Well,
Excellent.
it absolutely whizzed by.
I did very much, but thank you very much indeed for coming in.
No,
Thanks for that. That's Tony Wilson, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much indeed.